Lesson 2, Reflections. So first of all, we're going to talk about the 4 quadrants. So we call this one Quadrant 1, Quadrant 2, Quadrant 3, and Quadrant 4. So a reflection is it can go across either the y-axis, or it can go across the x-axis, or it could go across both and have multiple reflections. But that's not necessary to do quite yet. So we're going to just do some practice. So we're going to plot these points. So we're going to call this point A, B, C, and D. And I want you to pause, knowing that when you plot points, it's X then Y, and this is the X-axis, and this is the Y-axis. I want you to pause the video and go and plot all these points. Okay, so it should look something like this. You got A, B, C, and D. Okay, so A is in quadrant 1, B is in quadrant 2, C is in quadrant 3, and D is in quadrant 4. We want to reflect it on the x-axis. So we're going to go like this, between x and x. That makes no sense what I just said. Anyways, if we wanted to reflect our A point, instead of it being above the x-axis, now it's going to be below the x-axis. So we're going to call this point A prime. That's our new point. And our new point is at 2, so our x value doesn't change, and our y value changes to be -4. And it's now in quadrant 4. Okay, B is, instead of being above the x-axis, it's going to be below, so we're going to call this B prime. This point is still at -3, but now our y value is at -1, and it went from quadrant 2 to quadrant 3. Our C point is now going to be above the line. We're going to call this C prime. So C prime is still at -2, but now it's at +3. And it went from quadrant 3, and now it is in quadrant 2. And D prime is going to be above the axis now here. And again, the x value is not changing, but the y value is turning to +3. And it went from quadrant 4 to quadrant 1. So if we were to generalize this, if I have the point x and y, okay, looking back on this chart, sorry, I just got alarmed that I wrote a D again right there, and it should be a 4. Why didn't anybody correct me? Come on. Okay, so if you reflect on the x-axis, your x value does not change, but your y value becomes the opposite. If it was a positive, it becomes a negative. If it was a negative, it is now a positive, so we write that as -y. Okay, next example. It's the same exact point, so I just want you to pause the video and plot those points back in as A, B, C, and D. Okay, and this time we're reflecting it on the y-axis. That's a typo. I was like, I'm pretty sure we just did the x-axis. So we're flipping it this way on the y-axis. So A, instead of being here on the right, is going to be over here on the left. We're going to call that our A prime. Oh, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. That didn't change. Okay, so now our A prime is going to be at -2 and 4, and it went from quadrant 1 to quadrant 2. B is going to flip over here for B prime, so B prime is now at 3 and 1, and it went from quadrant 2 to quadrant 1. C is going to flip right here. We're going to call that C prime, and it went from -2 and -3 to be +2 and -3. Went from quadrant 1 to quadrant 4, quadrant 3 to quadrant 4. And D will be over here. That's our D prime. So D prime is at -4 and -3. And it went from quadrant 4 to quadrant 3. So very similar to the other example. when you have a reflection on the y-axis. Reflection on the y-axis. Our x value is going to change this time, so it's going to turn into a negative x, and then our y value does not change. Okay, when we're talking about lines of symmetry, things are not always symmetrical both ways. For this one, it is symmetrical on the y-axis, but it is not on the x-axis, so it only has the one line of symmetry. So what you're going to do is you're going to just, if you have a point on this side, you're going to have a point on this side. So you're just going to do it with dots. Oops. And then connect them. That looks so awful. I'm going to do a better job of it. I want you to pause the video and I want you to do this on your own. So it should look something like that, but nicer. But if I can do it that good on the iPad, you can probably do okay. Okay, reflecting your name in each quadrant. I'm going to do my name because obviously that's me, but I would like you to do your own name. So in quadrant 1, this is where you can write your name, and it's a lot easier if you do it in caps. Then we're going to flip it this way. So it would look, let's put a thing on here to make it a little bit harder. So it would look like this. G's is the hardest part. I didn't even draw the G the same way. And like that. Okay, and now I'm going to flip it down here because that's a little bit easier than the last quadrant. And then the last one is flipped double. Actually, I don't find this one to be hard at all. Is that even right? I don't know. Do it yourself. Come show me. Also, remind me to show you, I have to do it in person, I can't do it on the iPad, how I can write with my right hand and my left hand at the same time, backwards of each other. It's an amazing skill. I'd like to share it with you, but I need to do it in person. So once you get to this video, please let me know and I will demonstrate all my skills. Okay, bye.